This is Japan Travel Smart. My name's Johnny, and I hope you join me to discover a better Japan travel experience. Welcome back to Japan Travel Smart. This is your travel companion Johnny, and this is journey number 16. Get to know the cities in Kyushu. Japan Travel Smart is a bi-weekly podcast all about the joy of travel through Japan, far and wide, from the perspective of a frequent visitor who just can't get enough of the place that does it best. This is your one-stop shop for the very best of Japan travel, including novel advice and Japan-specific tips to keep you ahead of the game. We cater to first-time and repeat Japan visitors alike in hopes of making the country shine at its very best, regardless of interest, budget, or time of year. Should the far-flung region of Kyushu ever be a part of your Japan travel plans? While making up 10% of Japan's total land area, we believe Kyushu, on its own, should have everything you'll ever need to make yourself a compelling Japan trip, and its main cities are a perfect showcase of distinctiveness and unique appeal. Kyushu is a land of crossroads that in the past managed to bridge Japan with the rest of Asia and the wider world. The island has a proud legacy that had the region and its inhabitants playing crucial roles in history that changed the destiny of Japan forever. Our introductory episode into the mainland Japanese island of Kyushu will have us delving into some of its principal cities and what they each have to offer by paying them a visit. But first of all, how do we even get to Kyushu, and where exactly in Japan are we talking about? Kyushu is the island region of Japan located furthest south and west. Kyushu has a mountainous terrain dotted with standout volcanic features and noted for intense and sustained volcanic activity. Kyushu's southerly location signifies a warm climate that can also offer a mild temperature respite during Japan's colder months. Japan Railways offers entry points to Kyushu from Honshu via the Sanyo Shinkansen and the JR Sanyo line. High-speed rail service is operational on key routes within the main island of Kyushu, where it becomes the Kyushu Shinkansen. So it's feasible to cross into Kyushu from western Honshu on the continuous high-speed rail link. Those traversing Japan by private vehicle can enter Kyushu coming from Honshu via a connecting suspension bridge. The city of Fukuoka is a likely starting point for visitors arriving at Kyushu. Fukuoka is the largest city in Kyushu after all. Fukuoka Airport is one of the definitive gateways to the region. This international airport is extremely convenient as it's located inside the city, and it's actually really close to the city center, which is pretty unusual for a major airport. There's definitely other airports scattered around the whole of Kyushu to consider using, especially if you're looking to get to or start out at the southern edge of the island. Such airports include Kagoshima Airport and Miyazaki Airport. There exist many airline alternatives to fly to the island of Kyushu and directly into most of its cities. Most of them are small regional airports that are easy to navigate, such is the case for Kagoshima Airport, which we've used. Despite being located away from the actual city, it's an airport that allows you to get right into the mood for Kyushu by offering free footbaths, available right there within its premises. Did you know that you can also reach Kyushu via public ferry service? This is the de facto way to continue to Kyushu from the west side of neighboring Shikoku Island on a same-day trip. You can also make an overnight ferry trip to reach Kyushu from the Kansai region, or even all the way from Kanto. There's even a popular international ferry service between the cities of Fukuoka and Busan in South Korea. And Fukuoka is the first city for us to cover today. Fukuoka is a top-rated city in Japan that probably wouldn't make you miss Tokyo or Osaka that much. Fukuoka is a sophisticated coastal city, the main economic motor of Kyushu, also noted to be a growing city at a larger rate than other cities in the nation. What do guides always recommend going to see in Fukuoka? Yatai food stalls have become a viral showcase of Japan on video streaming sites. And nowhere is modern Yatai food culture more prominent than in the city of Fukuoka. It's quite possible that international visitors are now making it a point to hit up Fukuoka because of the Yatai food stalls. On most evenings in the neighborhoods of Nakasu and Tenjin, open-air food stalls are set up serving comfort food and drinks in an informal setting. We think the food stalls are a touristy and experiential aspect of Fukuoka nightlife, so don't expect the best deal in town. What do we recommend doing in Fukuoka? Because of its location and connectivity, Fukuoka is likely to be either a base for your trip and a possible endpoint to your visit to Japan. Therefore, Fukuoka is an ideal place to take care of your shopping needs. Tenjin is a very compact city center area with every type of imaginable shopping option, including electronics and hobby stores. We recommend heading to Tenjin, even from the main city center of Hakata, for the best chance to satisfy your last-minute shopping needs. The Tonkotsu style of ramen is widely known today and commonly served around the world, but you should probably want to have it where it's originally from, and you should definitely do so either at Fukuoka or at the neighboring city of Gurume that sets the original location that started making the top-rated ramen variant. Also known as Hakata ramen, the characteristic milky white broth and its pungent porky flavor is the real deal in this corner of Japan. If you're looking to get a quick snapshot of the vibrant Fukuoka skyline from above, look no further than the free rooftop garden within the large JR Hakata Station complex. Hakata Station is the main rail hub of the city, and it's called Hakata Station rather than Fukuoka Station because Hakata is the name of the historic town absorbed into Fukuoka. Next up, we're going to talk briefly about the city of Nagasaki. Nagasaki's history in Japan is the most closely associated with Christian missionary work and influence dating centuries back. This has resulted in numerous churches and monuments found today around the city and the prefecture. Nagasaki was also one of the only locations that kept contact with foreign traders during the long period of national isolation. Finally, Nagasaki was the second city hit by an A-bomb during World War II. This event precipitated the unconditional surrender of Imperial Japan. What do guides always recommend going to see in Nagasaki? The Nagasaki Peace Park is the solemn piece of remembrance of the bombing event. The Peace Park is a place equally impressive as it is serene and thoughtful. There are a number of evocative sculptures and statues with the overarching message of peace promotion. These monuments are worth taking in with time, with the famous and iconic main fixture, the peace statue, looming in the background. The entire site of the memorial is, quite simply, calming and soothing. Perhaps the most significant location is Ground Zero itself, the hypocenter of the detonation. The highly recognizable site, as it appears in many history books, is marked with a simple monument and surrounding concentric rings. If you don't believe it'll dampen your mood too much, be sure to also take the time to see the A-bomb museum nearby. What do we recommend doing in Nagasaki? Castella is a delicate Japanese sponge cake from Nagasaki. It's a minimal confection inspired and adapted from the spoil-resistant cake brought over from the historical Portuguese trade. There are many locations in the city to get a hold of this local treat, and some fancy shops boast a centuries-old history with appropriately matched price tags, but you can also find and enjoy the cakes from more regular shops at more regular prices. Castella is a great souvenir option to bring back from a visit to Nagasaki, so be sure not to miss it. Next up on our recounting of cities in Kyushu is the classy Kumamoto. Located at the center of the Kyushu mainland, Kumamoto was the site of one of the preeminent Japanese castles, Kumamoto Castle. The castle was besieged in 1877 as the location of the decisive standoff to counter a rebellion against Japan's new government under the emperor. The castle's main keep was burned down as a result of hostilities. It is said that the age of the samurai finally came to a close with the events at Kumamoto. What do guides always recommend going to see in Kumamoto today? That would be Kumamoto Castle. Wait, how's that possible? The castle today is a facade reconstruction of the original, so the inside of the place is more like a current-day museum, which stands in contrast to the dim interiors and narrow staircases typically found in the original wooden castles still standing in Japan. So don't be surprised to notice things like concrete walls, an elevator, and a basement level at the castle at Kumamoto. As you ascend through each of the 6 floors of the main keep, you'll be treated to a fascinating outlook of a different period in history for the castle up until the current day. What do we personally recommend doing in Kumamoto? Catch a Kumamon-themed show at Kumamon Square. Kumamon is by far the most successful example of a city mascot character. Even if you're unfamiliar with Kumamoto, chances are you know about the massively popular black bear with a vacant stare and bright red cheeks. You can get to see Kumamon himself perform daily at this downtown location, doubling as a merchandise store and exhibit. Shows at Kumamon Square are free to attend and fun for the whole family, so be sure to look up the daily schedule to make sure to visit Kumamon Square when Kumamon is giving a show. At the southern edge of Kyushu lies the city of Kagoshima, right beside the imponent Sakurajima, a highly active volcano. Kagoshima is also the very final stop for the Kyushu portion of the Shinkansen train service. The people of Kagoshima take enormous pride in their history. Kagoshima and its key figures played a big role in the events leading up to the phasing out of the feudal system and the modernization of Japan. As you check out souvenir and gift shops, you will probably start to notice the face of a prominent historical figure who appears everywhere in this city. 19th century military leader Saigo Takamori is revered in Kagoshima as a principled and deeply moral, albeit tragic hero of his time. What do guides always recommend going to see in Kagoshima? Senganen is a Japanese garden built by the old ruling clan of what today is Kagoshima. Of particular note for this historic site are the remains of some of the earliest industrial facilities introduced to Japan, such as reverberating furnaces. Foreign contact and exchange allowed Kagoshima to be at the forefront of Japan's modernization efforts in those days. Senganen rounds out the cultural experience by providing visitors with hands-on activities and by hosting seasonal events. Finally, the volcano in the background is considered to be an essential part of the scenic view of the garden. What do we personally recommend doing in Kagoshima? Reimeikan is one of the best museums in Kagoshima and one of the top history museums we've seen in all of Japan. For starters, this museum was built on the grounds of a former Japanese castle. It's surrounded by stone walls, and you enter the museum by passing through the castle's main gate. Just how cool is that? The museum features good English language support, and you will find 3 floors worth of recorded history and exhibits, although the crowds start thinning out from the 2nd floor of the facility. For this reason, you should find a real gem on floor 3, a special room with priceless Satsuma katana on display, including hilted swords. You may well have the room to yourself. For this reason, we consider it to be a much better experience than the swords on display in crowded Tokyo exhibits. Kagoshima is definitely the city on this list to get deeply acquainted with local history and culture, but it's a no-brainer to check out and spend time at the Sakurajima volcano area, which is a very quick ferry ride from downtown Kagoshima. Next up, we'll talk about one of the most pleasant surprises in our digest of Kyushu cities, the city of Miyazaki. Tucked away at the southern-east edge of Kyushu, Miyazaki would seem a bit isolated at first glance. Miyazaki is a city to indulge in the best culinary experiences of the region. To begin, we have the local comfort staple of chicken Nanban, which is a tender fried chicken with tartar sauce. Actually, you should have a chance to have chicken Nanban even when you're in other cities in Kyushu, as the dish is popular and available all over. When it comes to Wagyu beef, the Kobe type is the most well-known and sought after by international visitors, but it may have become too popular for its own good. Enter Miyazaki Beef, an alternative, top-quality Wagyu for those who know what's up. Farmed under the most stringent standards and often coming ahead of its rivals in contests, Miyazaki Beef is steadily gaining in its international profile. For now, and for a very reasonable cost, there's no better place than Miyazaki City to gain access to the well-kept secret before it blows over. Right on the outskirts of the city of Miyazaki is one of our absolute favorite places in all of Japan. The picture-perfect resort town of Aoshima, along with its immaculate beach and its mini island. Actually, we're going to introduce our japantravelsmart top location in Japan designation and afford one to Aoshima in Miyazaki. Going forward, this will be our personal highlight of places in Japan that we consider the best of the best. Take a pleasant stroll on the idyllic stretch of beach leading up to the walkable Aoshima Island and cross into it using the pedestrian bridge. The tiny island hosts a torii gate and a shrine nestled within dense tropical foliage. This whole place is like a dream on a clear day, and I've had people remark that the tropical beach setting doesn't look like their idea of mainland Japan. On the receding tide around Aoshima Island, you'll be able to appreciate a fascinating geological formation called the Devil's Washboard. Rows of rocks form long straight lines as if sculpted by nature herself. Aoshima Beach is a fairly popular surfing area, and the town can be reached on the JR Nichinan line at the edge of the urban expanse of Miyazaki. The resort town features great seafood restaurants, reasonable accommodation options, and is a decent alternative to staying in the city when visiting this often overlooked part of Japan, even within Kyushu. To wrap up our overview of cities in Kyushu for this episode, we will introduce the twin cities of Beppu and Oita. Beppu is a long-time popular hot springs town with the feel of a city, while prefecture capital Oita is more like a standard Japanese city. Beppu is a curious case in Japan. It's definitely not your standard onsen town. Let's just say that Beppu is a place that had a heyday. You'll notice a lot of character and grit in downtown areas of Beppu. If you're having to pick and choose for your Japanese hot spring experience, we suggest the nearby mountain town of Yufuin for something more kept and definitely less run down. Beppu is also the place to see the touristy hells of Jigoku, which are pretty interesting. Beautiful steaming ponds of different colors are scattered throughout the edge of town at Beppu, lending themselves to photo opportunities. The large hot spring resorts and the hell ponds around Beppu attract a great number of visitors from abroad year-round. As a consequence, sister city Oita right nearby is often overlooked and doesn't see nearly as much tourist traffic. This may play into an advantage if you're keen to have an unspoiled visiting experience of a Japanese city. For instance, those of you who like to check out second-hand stores may find them to be less combed over in less frequented destinations. To add to this, let's consider a certain really famous discount and variety store in Japan, popular with overseas tourists, whose mascot is a blue penguin with a Santa hat. Their flagship stores in the big Japanese cities are often crowded and chaotic. The goods tend to be stacked haphazardly, and there's a lot of sensory overload. You probably know the feeling. We can't say we are the biggest fans out there, but I recently had a friend ask me about the stores while I happened to be in Oita. This location we went to at a downtown shopping arcade, which we later found was a newly opened store, is a compact and quiet location where we noticed some unique decor, including colorful store-themed neon displays along the escalators. Exactly the kind of thing I was hoping to take a snap of and share with my friend. I guess what I'm trying to say is you can never get too touristy if you're someplace like Oita, no matter where you go in town. Both Beppu and Oita are port cities that are well connected with passenger ship routes, from which you can come or go to places like Shikoku or the Kansai region. That's as good a reason as any to stop by Oita and get to know this city as part of your trip to Kyushu. You'll be able to find a list of the attractions and activities mentioned for each city on our show notes. Time constraints will prevent us from also taking a glimpse at some other prominent cities, such as Kitakyushu and Saga. We'll certainly apologize for those omissions. We hope to have highlighted the strengths of each of the cities featured and how they warrant visits in their own way for your very own Kyushu adventure. Where you decide to take things is up to you, but we are confident that no matter where you go, the incredible people in Kyushu that you meet will correspond your visit with unconditional cordiality and appreciation. Of course, there's much more to Kyushu than the cities within it, but we'll leave that for another time. For now, thanks for listening, and we appreciate sparing us a written review if you're on Apple Podcasts. No, really. A brief review is something real simple that you can do to show that you got some value from the show. Again, thanks for your support. On the next episode of Japan Travel Smart, we're going to cover the Japanese hot spring experience, and we'll offer advice on what you need to do to perfect the ritual and visit onsen like a pro. You definitely don't want to miss this one, so subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Johnny, and I'm signing off with your reminder to, above all, be smart, and everything else will fall in place.